Greetings, everyone. We love you all so much. So, like, the thing is, humans don't know how amazing we all are. Like, being human is the coolest thing. It's amazing. However, because humans are not aware of how amazing they ought to be, they, believe in fear. Because humans have the ability to create, as a creative being, they created two energies. They created love and they created fear. Because they went to the book of knowledge that contains good and evil, which is a metaphor for the apple and the whole Eden shenanigans. So humans having that creative ability created good and evil duality, and now they are, living off duality, thinking that that is how life ought to be, not understanding that it's only a vice of their own creation. So once you understand that everything that's happening are things that we created, then the solution becomes so easy because then why don't we just simply create a better reality? It's that simple. And all the ancient revenge, the trauma people haven't healed from, all the whole stress, the need to be heard, and the pain, it's driven people to think that they have to resist and always have to fight in order to solve the challenges that they experience, because it came out of disorder, then perhaps it will go out of disorder. But that's really not the case, because you're just creating more disorder. Once again, you're a creative being. You have the ability to create whatever you want. So why don't we just use the moment to take a step or two back and realize who we are, realize our power, and then use it in the most benevolent ways, as opposed to trying to, you know, the system is not created out of love. So that's why there's all this friction. If your civilization was ethic from love, it was designed out of the love that we all ought to share with one another, there wouldn't be poverty, there wouldn't be police killing people. There wouldn't be people using violence to stop violence. It just doesn't add up. There wouldn't be prisons. So humans created a prison for themselves. So what we're introducing is the tree of life. And that's the only tree there is, because without life, the tree of knowledge would not exist. Like there will be no need for it. So using the tree of life create a new life. We can, just be done with the old and create a new life, knowing that these things that have happened in the past are the things that we do not want to return. We do not want to repeat itself. So we then create a system that voids such actions from occurring voluntarily or involuntarily. So a perfect system can come to be now that we've had all this whole terrible you know, learning experience. So using this learning experience, we can then create a new world. I'm talking about you and I together, all of us. You know, there really isn't much left to resist. The people who are, creating this resistance, this friction that were bettered or programmed from duality, from the past, from the ancient wars and the ancient trauma. Many of your grandparents still carry the trauma of World War One and Two, and they haven't healed from it. Most people carry the trauma from their past, and they're still moving on. They're feeding off the energy from their younger ones by recreating and perpetuating that energy. It just keeps them in that loop of dysfunction, that loop of discomfort, and they see it as a way of being. For if you put someone in a dark place for so long, they've never seen the sun for over 30 years. Introducing them back to sunlight will cause a little fracas. It will be uncomfortable, and to some, it might hurt their eyes. So you need to come from a state of love, a state of understanding that people are only acting out their trauma, And the best way they know how to, because from a low consciousness, you can't see the higher. You cannot perceive reality from a higher state of being because you are not there yet. And when you get there, you will start seeing your situations and the systems in your reality as, kind of like a puzzle to find your way through, as opposed to something that, should cause anger, pain, and cause you to react in violent ways. Instead, you always be in love, always be happy, always happy. And from that idea, you start seeing many things that many people are not seeing. Like the idea about space that's out in the public. NASA has been saying that they've been sending people to space, to the International Space Station, and suddenly now they're saying the first time, I think perhaps a commercial airline or rocket company is taking a man to space, but they're making it seem like they are just now doing this thing that they've been telling us they've been doing. But you said you sent a man to the moon. What kind of technology did they have back then that they were able to send a man to the moon? And why can't they create it again? And if they were able to do that and create an international space station in 1969, and that means we have a kind of base in space. Why aren't they like showing us a tour about the environment? Why don't they just take us around? Let's see what they do there. Let's see what's up in space. They just show people floating and use that idea like it's kind of like an enigma for humans. So they feather in that idea like that's what space is like, not understanding like since they've been showing space, have they taken the camera to show you like a 360 view? You always just see the curvature. That's CGI. Great. It could be green background. It could be green screen. We're not saying we're not instigating though, but think about it. Are you aware? Are you consciously aware of your reality to the aspect that you know what space looks like and you know if you're being deceived or if you're not? Do you know the nature of your reality outside what's been permitted, outside what's been fed to you in your way of life that is still flawed by design, by following the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Stop creating the resistance, stop creating that duality, come out of it and create love. That's the solution. Most people think that the solution will require people going into like a full battle with a cabal and killing those people that are killing those people. You're still perpetuating that low consciousness by killing those people. We should be thinking about a civilization where we get rid of prisons and replace them with rehabilitation centers. Like, if someone's done something wrong, why are you locking them up in a very, very uncomfortable place? Like, they are better dead than, abused in that way. Because humans don't see the light in one another. They do not perceive each other like a manifestation of divine. They do not see the biological instrument as a very intelligent machine in that sense. There's so much that humans don't even know about their body, and they're trying to go to space. Humans don't even know much like about one another. You haven't gotten over racism, but you want to go to space. How are you going to react when you see a humanoid looking entity with an elephant face? Is that going to scare you? You're going to bring out your gun and try to start shooting? Or perhaps you see that as a benevolent, civilized, advanced, expression of divine, just as you are. Like, humans are like the newest addition to the galaxy. So they're like waiting for humans to go through all this, their 3D shenanigans, and then evolve to a higher state of being in that 5D that we've been talking about. And from 5D, when you look at reality, you start seeing, be like, oh shit, what the fuck? Why do we have money? Like, if you cannot think about a reality without money, then you are in a low consciousness energy. Like paper money is primitive. We have to evolve to a state of civilization where we do not have to exchange paper to get the things that we eat. It's just primitive. Now, in order to aid the ascension of your consciousness, we'll have to start passing you with new informations that will create new neurological pathways in your brain and allow your brain expand, because your cells require a certain level of memory in order to connect the dots with your DNA to awaken that which is already living within you, as we'll share in future time. So, like, when you understand the nature of your DNA, you realize that there's something like epigenetics and how that can affect the genetic programs and the genetic humans on the planet, and how some certain levels kind of behavior patterns can come out to be. Then you start changing the way you see your reality, that perhaps certain people are reacting this way because they've experienced a long trauma of like years in their DNA, and they do not feel secure. And that feeling of insecurity is making them act in an erratic way. So the problem is not their action or their reaction. The problem is the problem. Why are they feeling insecure? Why don't we treat them with more love and kindness, saying that they have just come through a very huge, daunting, horrific tribulation, long years of slavery, for instance. Most people are going through different things in their own ways. Most people have the genetic makeup where they do not feel sure about themselves. They do not feel like they are alive. Like they don't see the essence of life. They don't see their purpose. They don't understand any of this. There are people who are having this problem and they don't know how to express it. Like, yo, they don't know what life is about. And sometimes they just feel like it becomes depressive. Like they want to kill themselves. Like, what are you living for? What's all this? And most humans don't understand that. Their creation story is about a talking snake and about an evolved ape. And none of that is correct. We can see it as a metaphor that means the truth that people don't understand, but not understanding where you come from, stops you from getting anywhere. So you cannot go anywhere if you do not understand that. So what we're advising is that we start creating the reality that we want to experience, seeing the past, seeing what's happened in the past, and knowing what not to recreate. It makes it easier for us to create the most perfect system. I want to start with Africa because this is where we are and this is where it started from. And, it's in the genetic material of Africans. Listen, Africans, listen. I will say what I wanted to say. Listen. It's in the genetic makeup of Africans. You have this information. So it's easy for your cellular program, your cellular body to find the memory of what we're saying and then connect the dots and then awaken your DNA. There are also some practice that you have to do that we will have to share with you, but we do not want people to weaponize these exercises. So we won't just share with anyone. It's not something we share on social media either. And if we have to share it, it will be something very it's like the $1 million question. How can you prove that you're self-conscious? Like, can you prove your nature? Like, why you're alive? Can you prove that you're not an advanced robot that someone else created? Can you prove that you're divine in a sense? How can you prove that you're divine? So most people do not really even know that they are divine to even start, formulating what that will feel like. And we'll share that with you. Perhaps you would have to experience it to really know for sure. And as we move on, you will start understanding what we're talking about in ways that you can then now express it and share it with other people just by creating the experience you want, about knowing how to. And in order to know how to, you have to reach for it because it's not something that, it's not something that is advertised and you won't find it on any advertisement either. So let's start creating this reality. Africans, you need to understand that everyone in Nigeria, for instance, are below the age. The majority of Nigerians are below the age of 50, period. Which means the older generation are already dying out, but are the younger generations able to start creating the reality they want? Most people don't understand anything about rocket science, so that means we'll have to start working with foreigners, and that's a good idea. It's a brilliant idea. However, we need to have some fundamental understanding about our culture, about our heritage, about the genetic makeup of our DNA. We need to understand what we are. We need to understand who we are as a collective before we start introducing foreign influences. Don't you think so? So we have to start creating that reality. It's our mission, it's our generation. We are not going to go through another 50 years of poor electricity. That's not going to happen. If the previous generation could stomach that, our generation is not going to let it happen. Listen, I won't let that happen. And whatever means I go about doing that, I will go through doing that to make sure that never happen. Our generation will experience unlimited electricity, and I'm making sure of that. You too should be supporting initiatives like this, and this is where it starts from, us seeing that we can do these things, we can achieve these things by ourselves, and then taking that bold step to make the move, to make it happen. It's that simple. We have to come together and start, funding these ideas. We have to start focusing on positive things. Back in the days before the politicians or the politics even existed, humans were following philosophers, Socrates, Plato, Michelangelo, these people Where do you think they came up from? How do you think people were able to understand or evolve with civilization if they were not seeing someone that is evolved or someone that, is bringing in new ideas that everyone can build up from? It's practical. It has to be practical. So this is how civilizations evolve, by seeing the higher and then following it, because the lower cannot comprehend it, cannot generate it without some form of, like we said, cellular memory. It's like some form of understanding. Most people don't understand spirituality. They believe that it's just about praying to a judgmental God. Bruh, a judgmental God, really? Like, why will it, like, think about it. Can Steve judge his iPhones? Like, it doesn't make sense. And most people pray every time. Like, prayer is not a bad thing, but you should be commanding your power, knowing who you are, because you're a created being. You should be creating your reality as opposed to begging, because, and in creating an environment that requires people to go through struggle, strife in order to put food in their mouth. Beloved, bruh, that shit has to stop. And now we're going to tell you, because I pretty much figured out, most people haven't figured out by now what what a civilization without money will look like. It's this. Everyone start generating their food by themselves. You wouldn't have to spend money to purchase what you're going to cook and eat, or what you're going to eat, or buy fruit. You plant it by yourself. You have it in your backyard. Where our company we're creating a system that enables you to have a mobile farm. And that's as much as we're going to share about that. But most people are already thinking, yo, 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 yo. But there are also some ricochet in the aspect of how it's going to create it, because it's not a business idea to sell it. We have to teach people how to farm. Every African, every Nigerian needs to know how to, feed from the land. Because what happens if the mall all closed down? What happens if something crazy like that happens, something batshit crazy, perhaps a new virus that has to stop everyone from like going outdoor? Then you have to now depend on smuggling food around. What happens when there's a war that doesn't really look like a war, because that's what humans are already in, but you're not seeing that yet because that it's still building momentum? But that's what it's leading to. Nigeria, your civilization is about to even, the economy is about to collapse. The civilization is already shaking. But the funny thing is that the fact that we have majority young folks, we can use that to our advantage by, teaching the younger ones how to, perceive reality, to join in creating the reality, as opposed to expecting old people to do what young people are built for. So that has to be, integrated into the social dynamics. Everyone needs to start thinking that way. And we have to start, collectively creating this kind of, joint funding to fund these ideas. We need to step out. We have to, everyone have to. It's not about protesting. What are you protesting for? For the government to do what they do? They don't have any clue. They don't know. How do you think anyone in the government know how to create electricity using magnetic motors? Even if they did, what do you think do they know how to do? It's not possible for them to do it. They're just looking in the wrong direction. Basically, that's all everyone has been doing. You're looking at the wrong direction. Once you start focusing and paying attention to positive things, creative things, things, advanced technology, beautiful exercises to practice, everyone start evolving. The state of consciousness start evolving to a state where everyone can see what needs to, be, upgraded in that sense. Because to a certain aspect, humans were already making that step. We're just not doing it collectively. People are still divided, because that's the only way they can create a situation like this, where there's a few group of people controlling everyone else. And now what they want to do is they want to plug everyone into the system, because they're lacking manpower, so they need robots to control people. That's why you're seeing the robots around. That's why they're going through all this mass surveillance and doing all this tracing. So when you start understanding that they're lacking manpower, that's why they're using technology. You can start, strategizing as opposed to just protesting. You need to understand the nature of your environment and, understand how it operates, so you can know how to manipulate it, because they already manipulated it to control you. So everything has to change. Now that's for foreigners. Africans, we Nigerians, we simply need to create a situation or an environment where everyone is empowered. Enough of all that whole, trying to oppress someone to feel good about yourself. Enough of all that seeking validation from other people. People don't even know what to validate anymore. They don't even know who they are as Africans. So everyone is just basically focusing on foreign activities, foreign information, foreign technology. Africans, we have the ability to create this thing. Cobalt is in Congo. Why don't we just put it together and start creating this technology? We can do these things. We just need to see that, we are capable. We deserve this thing. It comes from understanding that as well. Because most Africans have this low self-esteem. They don't believe that they deserve 24 hours light. Like, bro, come on, your children, if you don't even feel that good by yourself, do you think your children want to be drawing gen all their life? Like I said, if the elder generation could allow that, our generation is not going to allow that. Even Bill Gates has taught people now how to create, viruses that can target old people. If the younger ones create a virus like that and wipe away all the old ones, there will be nothing left. And with this recession rising up, before you know it, Nigerian currency, it becomes worthless. Like what's happening in Venezuela, they're throwing their paper current money in trash. Like it does, it's happening in Zimbabwe. You know this. The reason it happened in Venezuela is because like they are, they generate lots of oil and oil market is going down, but they also import a whole lot of shit, and that importation has ruined their economy because right now they cannot manufacture anything and they have to purchase everything that they need from import. And with that currency, like basically they're buying tissue. Like it's better you use the currency to wipe your ass than to buy tissue, because they're importing it. And Nigeria is, synonymous with that because Nigerians are doing the same thing. Nigerians, like, I heard recently that Nigerians are importing toothpicks. People, look at that. So we cannot expect the old people to create this change. It is us who are going to create it. And the only thing that I even suggest is that we start requesting them to start funding the projects that we have created. We should just start giving them the bills to start creating like not expecting them to do anything. They should just fund it. And if you want to, cause a fracas for them to get the funding, then you might as well do that. If there's any politician that is in the way of, them signing that bill, then, you might as well do what you have to. But we are not going to accept sitting down and pressing phone and then focusing on all these clowns who are just, wasting your time. They're making you comfortable in a shithole. It is what it is. Africans want to brag like, yo, or Nigerians, because I see everyone together, because it happens everywhere in Africa as well. But skipping it with Nigerians want to like brag like with what they got. All the things imported, foreign shenanigans. None of the things that you're holding right now was created by an African in Africa. Think about it. So we need to start creating this thing. Let's start inventing the next technology. I have a brilliant idea. Let's start creating holographic screens. It's the next thing. It's the next thing. So if we start creating holographic screens right now, then we're securing the future to a certain aspect that whoever have to evolve their technology using holographic screen, they will have to contact us. And that keeps us relevant in the technology spectrum. And that, creates way for the younger generation to then use that opportunity to like expand on what we started on. But we have to start on something and we require all the funding. Like we hear the money that Nigerians are looting and the money that goes missing. Everyone has accepted it like a normal story. And the funny thing is that they've accepted the dysfunction as normal, and they see the cure and the solution as something delusional. When people have been left in the dark for too long, you cannot just bring them out to light suddenly. It will blind your eyes. So you have to gradually shade them and guide them into the light. And a certain level, you have to like incorporate them back with the surface reality. So this is where I see Africans and Nigerians in right now. And we all together can collectively, move this further because we have help now. You have help. We're here to assist. All of this is to assist because we see what's coming in front and it's going to be very uncomfortable. The recession, you have all your money in your bank account. You got like, say, you got the equivalent of $2 million sitting in your bank account right now, and you're feeling like a big man. You can, get around, do whatever you want to do. You're well, you're fine. But what happens once the economy or the currency gets devalued? So that means your 200 million naira or 1 billion naira will probably have the worth of, 100 million naira. Before you know it, it has the worth of 10 million naira. Then what did you gain for the money just sitting there in the bank? The bank are expecting this to happen. They want this to happen because that's their way out. And that's is the logical thing. So as the system, the economy system is resetting, new digital currency will be introduced, because you can't carry on with paper money. You can't do that for as long as you have done. As things are evolving, everything's getting into technology, into the cloud. We need virtual money in the cloud. We're already using that with regular, digital money system that already exists. So all that is just going to expand. So the money you're keeping is going to be to your disadvantage. Once the recession hits, that means you'll be at a loss that you cannot recover from. And the only way you can, secure the future, especially for your children, is if we start investing that money in the future, in these creative ideas that we're introducing. Everyone needs to have their own stationary farm at the back of their house. Everyone needs to have their own mining system in their house, perhaps in their garage. And we introduce this to, just think about it. Mining system, you mine in Bitcoin, and you have a farm at your backyard. What's missing? What's missing? Energy, electricity to power this system. So you don't have to be drawing gen and be on a generator to do that, correct? So electricity, energy is the most important thing. This is the reason why we're starting to introduce these new new magnetic motors that we've been telling everyone about. Let's start creating energy systems. Once we have enough energy systems, everyone will start creating. Everyone will become self-empowered. Everyone will be able to sustain themselves regardless of what the economy introduces. Then all the whole finances that everyone, your money is not missing. You will just have your money in the digital currency spectrum. So whatever it is that, the people who you find out who will be like the rich guys in the future are those who will be able to afford all these technologies, because they will have a lot of virtual coins, and you can place order, and you can get all this advanced technology. So the wealthy people in the future are those who will have, more sophisticated things in that sense, like those classy people, because they won't be like poor people anymore. But the average human has everything they need to sustain themselves independently in case of whatever. They can generate their virtual coins. It'll take them a while depending on the quality of their energy system, but they will have their virtual coins, and they will sustain themselves with their mobile farm, or just their farm in their backyard. And everyone is empowered and independent. Once we can create that state of civilization, then we can start going off world, because we have our history tied to extraterrestrial connections. We have extraterrestrial presence, have been on Africa before. Like, people think that the Giza was built by aliens, but no, it wasn't. We just, we're all together, and everyone was, intermingling and learning from everyone else. So imagine that kind of reality where there are those who are from another planet, and we're all chilling together and learning from one another. Imagine how fast Africa will evolve once that happens. But it starts from us creating that first, step, that compassionate step, those loving energies, those higher awareness, by creating systems that supports everyone. We need to start supporting positive ideas. We need to start creating this positive reality, this idea that revolution. There will be no revolution, beloved. Instead, there will be an evolution. And that's what we're presenting. We hope you share this video, and we'll keep in touch. We love you all. Let's do this. Nigerians, we're all young, and we all should be busy doing this right now. So, let's begin. We love you all. Namaste.